Good evening, folks. Welcome to this edition of Curveball Convos brought to you by the boys at Carolina Curveball. Tonight, we are a three-man crew. Myself, Braxton, and Colby. Reed Tobin will be on shortly. He is on his way home from a electric day, so to speak, for himself in Greenville. We might also get a guest appearance from Money Matt from the Weekly Pick'em, Carolina Curveball staffer. We might get an appearance. But other than that, boys, how was y'all's weekend? And yeah, let's start off there. How was y'all's weekend?
Pretty good. I was out of town, so I didn't get to watch too much baseball, but looks like you guys had a fun weekend, well, Sunday in Greenville. But I was able to keep up with what was going on. Obviously, a pretty packed weekend in terms of results and a lot of rubber matches. It seemed like, which is what we love to see. But yeah, I'm just ready to dive in and give my takes, and it'll be interesting to see the rankings tomorrow. I'll just say that.
Yeah, those are going to shake up for sure. Colby, how was your weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Watched a lot of ball. Didn't have much to do. And Friday was electric with all the stellar pitching performances for sure.
Yeah, that was absolutely outstanding. The pitching performances from just around the league. Is let's just kind of start off with that on Friday. Friday we were given two gems from Ethan Norby throwing 19 Ks, shutting out Coastal Carolina. And then you take a trip down 64 and 85, and Blake Gillespie throws a no-hitter versus James Madison for the Charlotte 49ers. Just absolutely pitching gems. Ethan Norby, I'll speak on him. Colby, I'll let you speak on Gillespie from Charlotte. Ethan Norby was just finding the zone. He was hitting it so well. 19 Ks is set the American Conference record. Absolutely unbelievable. I think one thing that is so hard to hit off him, he moves so quick. He's so fast. I would honestly call it quick pitching. He pitches very fast. He really crowds you and makes you really make a bad decision. So just a phenomenal performance from him. Unfortunate the Pirates could not finish the job. Their offense looked pretty terrible, barring Colby Wallace going nuclear on Friday. Other than Colby Wallace, there wasn't much that the Pirates did at the plate. It was very, very unfortunate for them. I would say unfortunate, but just not like them from the plate today. They were 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position, and it just kind of was the story of the weekend. But we'll go to Colby to talk about Blake Gillespie's gem.
Yeah, adding on to Norby first, you brought up quick pitching. When we were there on the Saturday game for first game of series against Carolina, ECU Carolina, it definitely would qualify as quick pitching. And, it's effective. It works. Carolina was doing everything they could to try to slow them down, like looking away, looking behind until they made eye contact. Yeah, Gillespie just looked unhittable, obviously, no hitter. James Madison didn't really have any success at the plate. I think they had one walk. I think what it was, maybe two. But, they had no chance on Friday, and they didn't really have a chance all weekend. Charlotte handled them all weekend, got a nice sweep against James Madison. I mean, James Madison was in the Raleigh Regional last year. That's a solid program on the rise and a very impressive series sweep for the 49ers.
Yeah, for sure. That puts them over 500 at 7-6 and really climbing as they go into conference play coming up soon in the American, which is an American conference that seems to be up this year. You look at teams across the league that have been performing well. UTSA last week beat Texas A&M. So really looking forward to that in the American Conference. Braxton, I know you didn't watch as much ball as you normally do this weekend, but what are some takeaways this weekend? What are some topics you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, obviously, there's a couple of big wins. I mean, we just right before the live talked about Wofford. If they didn't lose that midweek against, I think it was Presbyterian, who also got a big win this weekend against Alabama. Wofford almost won that series in Lexington, which would have been a big one for them. I think we had them like 7th in the power rankings right now. I look for them to possibly stay around that area. High Point taking care of business against Stonehill. And then Charleston Southern, sweeping Elon. I think that was a bit of a shocker. For me, I thought Elon would, especially at home, kind of take that series. But looks like from what I saw, Charleston Southern kind of just controlled that one in Burlington. Credit to them. They're sitting at 11-3 right now. Their offense has been rolling all season. We just were kind of waiting for them to play someone. I think they answered the call with a sweep at Elon this weekend.
Yeah, and I think they're right on the door to breaking into our power rankings. I know that they're right outside the door last week, and we have got a good relationship with those guys down there in Charleston Southern. We're very active with them on X and social media, so very, very happy for that program. Wishing for them the best, and just like you said, going into this series, I mean, they haven't played the best competition, and then sweeping an Elon team that we think is a pretty darn good team is very, very, very impressive. Colby, what other series? We're gonna go through a lot of series, but what other series stands out to you that you want to discuss?
Yeah, obviously State. Not just the series this weekend. They swept Wright State pretty convincingly, but just the week they had in general. They won at UNCG on Tuesday, beat Campbell Wednesday, and then swept Wright State this weekend, obviously. And things I think are turning for the best in Raleigh. You know, the pitching staff is Fritton is dominant, and so is Ryan Marone, and Heath Andrews is picking it up too. That caught my eye. And let Braxton talk about it, but Stanford beating UNC in Chapel Hill 2 out of 3 really caught my eye. I thought Carolina would definitely take that series. Just a tough Friday for DeCaro. You know, it's baseball. He had one rough outing. I think he'll be fine bouncing back, but was more surprised with the 0 runs today in the rubber match.
Yeah, Braxton, if you want to talk about the Heels right now again.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a surprise. I didn't expect them to per se dominate the series, but I did expect them to win the series. And I think anytime you lose a conference series at home to start the conference season, that's tough look. Stanford, a newcomer in the ACC, obviously. I don't think we really knew what to expect. We knew they were talented. They had a good record coming in. But I mean, they just came to Chapel Hill and outplayed the Heels in 2 out of 3 games. I mean, Saturday, obviously, the Heels with an 11-1 victory behind a good performance from Knapp. But yeah, I mean, looking at the box score, like you said, Colby DeCaro just didn't have his best stuff. It seemed like I think there might have been an error or something on the pitcher Ryan Lynch. I didn't see what happened, but that could have. It was it 13-9 on Friday, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could have been kind of a back and forth game, but I think that the Tar Heel offense was still kind of doing their thing. I mean, Luke Stevenson had a huge day on Saturday, hitting 2 homers. He's starting to heat up. Gallagher's hitting the ball better since he's moved up the lineup. So I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Obviously, it kind of stings to start ACC play, 1-2, when you look at Wake and Duke starting with 2-1, 3-0. I think those were. I don't know if there was another ACC series, but it is what it is. I think this team's going to be just fine. They might drop a few spots in the D1 rankings. We might see probably them drop to 2 or 3 in our power rankings. But again, still going to be fine. Still a top dog in the ACC. But yeah, definitely surprised to see them lose at Boschmer.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And just like you guys said, it is baseball, and DeCarlo is one of the best pitchers in the country. And I mean, you're not going to be perfect every single week. It's just baseball, what happens. But you did mention on another ACC team that we have not talked about yet, and that is Wake Forest. Wake Forest just absolutely dominated Notre Dame all weekend, except yesterday. Notre Dame did have a chance to win there in the ninth. Wake Forest up 6-5. Notre Dame did have a run on second and third. Colby, correct? I was watching it. They did have a chance to win it there, but the real star of the weekend is Merrick Houston. Just continues to light it up at the plate. He had 10 RBIs on Friday. I'm not sure his numbers the rest of the week, but I mean, he has been phenomenal at the plate. Colby, is there anything you want to say about Wake or Merrick Houston?
Yeah, I mean, that whole lineup breaks. I mean, you go through it. I mean, everyone can hit. Ethan Conrad, Jack Winay, Cade Lewis, Antonio Morales. And then we didn't mention it, but Friday night, their starter, Logan Lunsford, he went 5 innings and had 13 strikeouts as well, got the win. Dominant performance. Yeah, they look really good.
Yes, and it's going to be very hard this week choosing the counter curveball pitcher of the week. I think we're going to have to do co-pitcher, maybe tri-pitcher, maybe quad pitcher because of all of his great pitching performances, which have been absolutely unreal. A team that I want to talk about, which I will say, if you're watching, Campbell fans, don't mean this in a bad way, but I'm shocked y'all won this weekend versus Texas State. I mean, I've been high on them, and then they continue to prove me wrong, and then don't prove me wrong. So, but Campbell gets a great series win over Texas State. I definitely I definitely think this can propel them into conference play and as well into their midweeks. I know that Jonah Oyster on Wednesday this week also went 1 for 3 with a home run. Also had a crazy catch. Something crazy happened to him this week,
It was
didn't
like
it?
a glove flip from second
Yeah,
base.
yeah, crazy.
Also, shout out Jake Murray on Campbell, Friday night starter. He was an absolute stud too. He went 6 innings of no hit ball with 14 strikeouts. Stellar
Yeah,
performance. I mean, Friday night was just the night of the pitchers. It was incredible.
yeah. And also Friday night, I'm seeing that Dalen Thompson went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs, and Andrew Schultz hit a home run that night as well. Just a really all-around great performance from the Campbell Camels in a big moment for them. I think that they needed this big time going into conference play. Another series we'll talk about is Troy and USC Upstate. I know that Troy coming in the number 19th ranked team in the country, going down there to Spartanburg. This USC Upstate took one from them yesterday. I did watch that game. It was huge for them. And Braxton, I'll let you speak on this. I would say a solid week for them for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think I picked them to win it. I just think I was happy with taking one though. I mean, obviously a top 25 team coming into Spartanburg, like you said, and we went to their place when I was playing there, and I came away really impressed with that program, Troy, and that's why they were my pick to win the Sun Belt this year. But I mean, yeah, to take one, I mean that's good. I think they're probably kicking themselves a little bit for not, having a few more bigger at bats in that game 1 or game 3. But I mean, that's tough. That's baseball. I think that Max Kaplan again pitched a hell of a game on Saturday to help them win that game. I know was it a 1-run win on Saturday, Casey?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5-4.
Yes, 5-4, yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, look, that's I'm happy for them to get that win. I know that some of the boys were fired up in the Discord and the group chat. So, but yeah, tough to not take the series. But you take one and you move on. They're up to 500 now. I think 7-7. So they're another team that's right on that bubble that looking to get ranked if they can start hot in Big South play.
Yeah, for sure. And as we kind of keep it in the Big South, first we have some Athens celebrity alumni in the chat. Jack Parr says, "What a weekend of ball!" And then our good friend Adam Stewart, Bobby Fairways continues to be in the Panthers corner. Panthers storm back to get another sweep. Joey Hammond's DNA needs to be tested. #baseball guy. Once again, High Point wins the series versus Stonehill. Not taking anything away from High Point, but I don't think Stonehill has won a game yet. But then again, High Point is putting up video game numbers each and every week. I know they scored 21 runs yesterday, and let's see how many runs they scored. They scored 11, 21, and 11. This offense just continues to absolutely knock it out of the park. I know that they have the leader in batting average in the Carolinas. Once again, thank y'all for supporting those posts. Those were huge for us. Braxton or Cole, if any of y'all want to take it to talk about this High Point squad and just going into Big South play, are they the team to beat in the Big South?
I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, the top is still good though. Like I still think Upstate is good, and obviously Charleston Southern. They've been hot to start the year, but I'm gonna roll with the defending champs. I'll still say they're the team to beat.
Yeah, I'm curious to see when do Charleston Southern and High Point play each other. We might have to make our way out for that for sure. I know that we have connections on both sides there. So once again, the Big South is going to be a conference to watch. I know that a lot of the mainstream media, national media focuses on SEC, ACC, and just these bigger conferences. But I think we take pride in taking care of these smaller conferences, giving them their shine, like the Big South, the CAA, SoCon, those conferences for sure. As we still talk about the weekend that was, is there a series that we haven't talked about that we want to discuss? Oh, I know one I want to discuss. South Carolina. I don't know what's going on. I know they swept their series versus Morehead State, but I mean, if you look at these scores for the South Carolina series, hold on, let me see if I can find this here. South Carolina. I know they won 1-0 today. They won 11-7 versus Morehead State on Friday.
On 16 I just had it 16-11 on Saturday.
16-11 on Saturday. Sorry, and then so on Friday it was 11-7, and today 1-0. Braxton, what's going on in Columbia? I mean, what is going? It's ridiculous, actually.
Hey, I mean, look, they're 11-3 or no 14-3 now. I mean, those 3 losses against Clemson, so they've taken care of business against everyone else. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what their biggest issue is. I think we may need to ask South Carolina fans because what they think it is. Because one thing I did notice is that Mineri's been trying out a lot of different guys. He's been kind of plugging and playing. I think they have a lot of depth, but they're still trying to figure out like what their everyday lineup is. I think they've kind of got their rotation pretty nailed down. I mean, obviously McCoy, what he's been doing on Saturdays, I think they might have even moved him up to Fridays, or maybe Becker was on Fridays. But those two lefties, I mean, they're looking good. And then Dylan Askew had a bit of an injury problem, I think, for a week, but he seems like he's back. But I didn't take a look at these box scores yet. But I mean, for Moorhead to score that many runs, they were my pick to win whatever conference they're in. Ohio Valley, is it? I know that's a decent program, so I just picked them to win that conference. But yeah, I did not. I expected them to kind of be more blowout ish, especially at home. I mean, I think they probably open up SEC play pretty soon, I would imagine, and they're kind of limping into that a little bit. But again, they're still sitting at 14-3. Won every game except for that Clemson series, obviously, that we talked about. But they're going to be fine. Again, we say this every week. They're better. They're going to be better than 14th in the SEC. I think we all can agree with that. Paul Mainieri is a legendary coach. He's going to figure out how to win games, even in the SEC. So I'm not too worried about it, especially the fact that they're winning those games. So I don't think there's too much of an issue there.
Yeah, I 100% agree, no doubt about it. And the last in a series I want to talk about, I know we talked about it on the East Carolina side. I want to talk about it on the Coastal Carolina side. Just what a response from that program this past weekend. Just absolute. Ethan Norby carved them up on Friday, and then they come out on Saturday and win 9-1 and just absolutely hold the ECU offense. What's the kid's name I have right here? Cameron Flukie from Coastal Carolina. 7 innings pitched, 5 Ks, 0 earned runs, 4 hits, and a win. He was absolutely lights out. ECU could not touch him whatsoever. Just the whole lineup for ECU had no clue what he was throwing. It was actually phenomenal. And then Blake Barthel and Ty Dooley. I would argue that I would say watching them in person, that Coastal Carolina has one of the best infields in the country. I think defensively and at the plate. I know defensively, Ty Dooley and Blake Barthel were absolutely phenomenal. Barthel made some plays this weekend, just flipping the ball out of his glove. He has unlimited range. Just absolutely phenomenal from the Chanticleers top to bottom. And then today, Coastal went down 1-0 early and then just battled their way back, scoring 1 run in the 6th, 7th, and 8th, just battling their way back to take a 3-1 lead. And then ECU comes back in the 9th, I think, to a Walker Barron base hit to first base, and Pirates tied up. But then I forgot the kid's name top of my head, but he hits a solo shot to lead off the 10th, and the Pirates could not answer. This Coastal Carolina squad is a regional host squad. This team is unbelievably talented. Because normally with Coastal in the past couple of years, they always have masters. They always have guys like Blake Barthel, Caden Bodine, Dean Mijos, Ty Dooley. It's just that pitching that has always been the question mark for them. And now when you got guys like Cameron Flukie and the guys that pitched today, that team is just an all-around juggernaut. They are definitely a threat in the Sun Belt for sure. I definitely want to shift to the Sun Belt here to talk about Southern Miss getting the win over UNC Wilmington. I know Wilmington got a win on Friday night, if I'm not mistaken, and then they lost 2 straight to Southern Miss. I will say that is a very tough place to play in Hattiesburg. That is a regional environment week in and weekend out. But I will say, Braxton or Cole, if you guys want to comment on this series, a tough series for UNC Wilmington. I definitely think it was a winnable one, but I wouldn't hang my hat too low because it is Southern Miss. They are a ranked team. They are a good program, a regional program. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Winning on Friday, you kind of expect to win the series then, and then Saturday you're up 1-0 through 7 innings, and then Southern Miss ties it up in the 8th, and then ultimately walks it off in extra innings. And then today, another close one back and forth. I think it was 4-4 in the 8th or 4-4 in the 7th. And Southern Miss scored 3 runs into the game to win. That's a tough one. Southern Miss is a really good team. Not discouraged by UNCW at all, losing the last 2 because they could have gone either way. I think UNCW is still a really good team.
Yeah, for sure. As Matt says, UNC Wilmington choked game 2, Southern Miss away with a 3-hit win. That is pretty impressive. Matt also says, can't win when you are 2 for 58 with runners in scoring position. I don't think the Pirates' running score position was that bad, but it's up there for sure. Any other scores you guys want to discuss? We'll just kind of run through here. Duke with a big response over Cal. Colby, do you want to comment on that one? Do you have anything you want to say on Duke getting a big series win?
Yeah, it was definitely concerning on Friday night. I mean, they got run ruled by Cal, and I was like, I'm not so sure. But then obviously bounced back with a win Saturday and today to take the series. So that was an impressive bounce back after kind of embarrassing on Friday.
Yeah, for sure. And another one, Braxton, I'll get your take on this. College of Charleston and App State. What a very interesting series that was. I know that College of Charleston opened it up with a 5-4 win over App State to take a 1-0 lead. And then yesterday, App State beat them 13-0. I mean, what in the world is going on? And then Charleston beats them today for 11-4 to take the series over App State. What are your thoughts on this series, Braxton?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised at App. I mean, for them to win a series against Gardner-Webb and then also come here and take a game in Charleston from a team that we expected to probably take that series. I mean, they obviously did. But I'm kind of surprised the way App's been hitting the ball, especially against that good Charleston pitching staff that we know with Jake Brink, Aiden Hunter, the likes of those guys. But I mean, with that being said, I mean, for Charleston to take that series, they've won pretty much every series outside of Creighton last week. So I mean, they just haven't swept anybody yet, and that's why their record's 9-5, and they obviously have the really impressive midweek win against Coastal Carolina, who we're really high on, obviously. But yeah, App is definitely showing that they can compete. I think in the Sun Belt, I don't know if they're not as good as probably Southern Miss and Coastal Carolina and Troy for that matter. But maybe they get hot and try to make a run late in the season. You never know. Juan Correa has been phenomenal for them. I know he was on some of our lists. I think RBI and home run. But I did want to touch on you were talking about Duke. I mean, how about the California teams, the newcomers of the ACC, just coming down here to Chapel Hill and Durham and just going 3-3, some convincing wins as well. Like, that's impressive. I didn't think we expected them to kind of. I think we kind of expected them to have a welcome to the ACC kind of moment this weekend, but maybe they're saying, hey, welcome to West Coast baseball to us. I mean, I was really impressed. And then I did want to touch on Clemson. I know we haven't talked about them yet, but they played Davidson. Did y'all get to watch any of that? I know Davidson was winning today.
I did not.
Ganarella got off the board with the home run, it looked like.
I know Davidson was up 4-0 today.
Yeah, and they came back and won 11-4.
11-4,
yeah. They won 14-4 yesterday. That's right. So yeah, Clemson obviously they have a good shot of becoming the number 1 team, I think, in the Carolinas. After sweeping Davidson, they're now 15-1. Probably going to move up finally be top 10 in D1 baseball rankings, we hope. But yeah, they look obviously legit, and as I've said all season, they're in my Omaha 8. I think they're a phenomenal team, a well-coached team, and it looks like we have an arrival.
Yes, sir, we do. Look who has come to the party.
Good evening, gentlemen.
We're inviting Reed Tobin straight from the Super Bowl. As you can see, twin Super Bowl cap. Reed Tobin, good to see you, sir. How was your weekend?
It was good. Good to watch a good amount of ball this weekend. Fortunate to go down to Greenville today. But yeah, I mean, a lot of exciting things this weekend. A lot of upsets.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I wanted to touch on as we were talking about welcome to the ACC moments. When will SMU have their welcome to the ACC moment?
It's ridiculous. They don't have a team.
When they
Texas
did,
school
In Texas, all that money they have.
Trust me, as being at ECU for years, not having SMU in the conference in Texas. There's another North Texas doesn't have a baseball team either. North Texas doesn't have one, and neither does SMU. Just two Texas programs that don't. I mean, I just don't understand it.
weird.
As well as one more team. When would you guys off topic? Do you remember the guy at the AC tournament last year wearing a Syracuse baseball shirt?
I saw a Syracuse fan today in Greenville.
Reed, as you're kind of late to the party, what are some major what are your key storylines coming out of this last weekend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think I'll start Carolina dropping the series to Stanford. I don't think any of us thought that. Stanford appears to be the real deal, back to their old self after the down year last year. Obviously, then Blake Gillespie on Charlotte, no-hitter. Friday night, incredible performance. And then obviously Ethan Norby, 19 strikeouts Friday night, but then Coastal responding after getting blanked Friday night, responding in a big way, winning the series. But I mean, yeah, crazy weekend.
Yeah, absolutely insane weekend. I'm really looking forward to guys making these curveball honorable mentions and curveball players of the week this week, because we have a lot to pick from. I want to thank Colby and Reed for putting this list together. I know Braxton did a little work too, but those guys really put in work diving into box scores this week, compiling these numbers to give you who is the standouts of the week for sure. And I'm rolling through this list right now. Gonna bring up some guys. We'll kind of go through this. If we have any other series to talk about, just plug it in. But I'm gonna start with.
I'll talk about one.
Go, Colby. Go ahead, man.
What is going on in Greensboro for the Spartans?
Yeah,
just 2 weeks ago they beat Wake Forest and then started off the series winning at Blacksburg, and ever since then it's been downhill. I think they're 6-9 now this week. They lost to
Radford
State, obviously, and then they lost another I think it was Elon. They lost to Elon Wednesday and then lost the series to Radford.
Didn't they almost beat Tennessee or something? Or I'm thinking of Radford. Radford almost did.
Yeah, I don't think UNCG played, but UNCG has. I was considering putting them in my top 12 a few weeks ago after their 2-2 week against the ACC, and since then it's been downhill. I think 1-4 this week with 2 losses in the midweek, and then obviously losing the series against Radford. That was just one I wanted to point out. It's been pretty bad baseball in Greensboro.
Yeah, which is very unlike that program for sure. As I'm looking through the week-to-week records, just some interesting records here. Campbell is 2-3 this week, but I would honestly say they had a better week because they did win a weekend series. They dropped 2 games in midweek. You got Charleston Southern going 3-1, Charlotte 3-0, Citadel going 2-3 this week. They played a 4-game series versus Northwestern. Once again, I'll hop on this Big Ten baseball thing. Don't know much about the Big Ten baseball. I don't know if they play on skating rinks up there, but Citadel did take 2 from Northwestern.
Did Western have another Western Carolina weekend?
They did. Yes. I know
State 16-12 yesterday. I don't know.
I know Colby texted in the chat and was like, "This is the most Western game of all time."
Yeah, when the game has 25 plus runs, you just know it's a Western Carolina game.
Yeah, for sure. It's just absolutely unreal. It's like it honestly just boggles my mind how many runs they score, but it is honestly impressive at the same point. I'm trying to look and see any of their guys in the week 4 honors to see any of those numbers.
I know Braden Korn has been playing well for them. Mason Holton was a guy last week. I think we mentioned.
Yeah, Colby, I know you're over them right now on the sheet. You want to go ahead and read those guys off?
Yeah, I only have Friday nights, which is another high-scoring game. But Hayden Freese went 4 for 6. Braden Korn 2 for 5, a double. Trent Turner 2 for 5. Noah Corliss 4 for 5. I mean, it's just a hit parade for the Catamounts every game.
Somebody gave him a pitcher, man.
Yeah. I mean, it is absolutely insane. the runs they put up, and also the runs they give up. I know, was it last week and the week before versus Maryland? That was just a marathon. I could not imagine being at that game.
35 runs.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Did we miss? I'm pretty sure we've talked about every series. Is there a series
Western Kentucky swept Asheville 4 games.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say. I will say I do expect more from the Asheville program, but it is just not.
I know Western Kentucky is a solid Conference USA team, though.
Yes,
I know it's very
like
surprising.
14-1 this year.
Queens.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I know it's very surprising, but Queens got swept this weekend. They did play Mississippi State at least, but very surprising.
What about Gardner-Webb? They swept.
Yeah, Gardner-Webb,
swept
Youngstown State.
I don't know if y'all touched on it, but Wofford taking Kentucky to the break this weekend. Obviously, got blown out Friday night, but 4-4 yesterday in the 9th, scored 8 in the top of the 9th to break that game open win. But they lost a close one today, 2-1. But they got to take probably a lot of positives from this weekend. Going into SEC Nation, going toe to toe, nearly stealing that series.
Yeah, that is a scrappy program for sure. Did we talk about Presbyterian today beating Alabama? Did we bring that up today yet, or no?
Mentioned it. I didn't watch it, obviously, but that's an impressive win.
Yeah.
Alabama was undefeated.
First loss. Yeah.
Winthrop following up. I think they went 1-2 this weekend. Obviously they beat Oklahoma State in the midweek, but they played a tournament in Greenville, South Carolina. I think it was a good American UAB team who I think beat them pretty handily, and then Michigan State blanked them yesterday, and then they got a win today against
Cornell.
Okay, yeah. So 1-2. I think they would have liked a better weekend than that, especially after beating Oklahoma State. Kind of announcing themselves on the national stage, but they're still looking very good, and they're going to compete in the Big South too. I know we've talked about a lot of Big South teams, but I'm thinking between High Point, Upstate, Charleston Southern, and Winthrop, those 4 right there, that's going to kind of be the race. And then Presbyterian, maybe they get hot too. That's going to be an interesting one to see how the Big South plays out.
Yeah, Presbyterian was up there last year, right?
They were the 1 seed in the tournament.
Yeah. One. Who needs the SEC and the ACC when you got the Big South?
Exactly.
This Big South is absolutely loaded. I know that. I know that we talked about. I know Braxton's been, but I plan on going to some of these conference tournaments for sure. It'll be an absolute bloodbath. We say.
I think is that Taylor Webster in the comments? He knows about the Big South tournament.
Yes, he does know about the Big South tournament. He also knows about the Clemson Regional. Had a lot of screen time there in the Clemson Regional. NC State may be back. Colby, I'll let you touch on NC State again, as some people are kind of still trickling in. And who does State have coming up this week? Do you know who they have coming up and who they?
I'm not sure about the midweeks, but I know they have their first ACC series against Virginia Tech this upcoming weekend. Okay. But NC State, I think Raleigh. Yeah, dope. I think State's back. 5-0 week, obviously. The pitching looks phenomenal. When you got Fritton and Marone, they've been on fire recently. And then Duden looked good this week as well. He's had a rough start to the season, but he was dominant shoving. Midweek he started and then closed out 2 innings this weekend. Josh Hogue, who was really good last year before the horrific leg injury collision in the outfield. He started off slow this year, but he was on fire this week. I think he'll probably be on the honorable mention, one of them this hitters of the week this week. Yeah, it's turning around. I was worried a couple weeks ago, but I'm a lot less worried now.
Did Matt Wilson pitch this weekend?
No.
Is that why you think that is?
So Matt had like a little hip issue, I think, but he should be back this week.
Okay. Braxton, do you want to pull up the pick'em so we can look at that?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. I hope it works.
Yeah, I have it pulled up on my iPad too. I have it pulled up on my iPad. See if we can see it. Let's see it. It is pulling up on YouTube and Twitter, so we are good to go to talk about this. Okay, so here's our Carolina Curveball midweek pick'em. For those listening, you can find this on our X and Instagram. We picked Coastal Carolina at East Carolina, Charleston Southern at Elon, App State at College of Charleston, UNC Wilmington at Southern Miss, and Troy at USC Upstate. We'll start off with I would say, the highlight game of the week, which was Coastal Carolina at ECU. Braxton picked Coastal Carolina. Myself, Colby, and Reed picked ECU. And Money and the Technician, the other two East Carolina grads, I might add, picked Coastal Carolina. Reed, I know you're kind of late here, but what were your major takeaways, and what can you say about I know we talked about ECU, but what are your thoughts on the Chanticleers?
Yeah, Coastal, I mean, I just certainly really impressed with how they responded. I mean, you strike out 19 times, especially to one pitcher in a game. That might knock a team pretty flat, but, they responded Saturday, dominated. The Coastal pitching was really impressive most of the weekend. Shut down the Pirates Saturday. And then, today being at the game, the Pirates, I mean, they hit the ball just – when they needed a timely hit, they could not get it. 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position. You're not going to beat a lot of teams with that. But I mean, credit to Coastal. ECU walked a lot of batters there to get them back into the game when I thought they had the game under control. Then obviously the go-ahead homer in the 10th. I forget who hit it.
Wasn't it I think it was like a Longwood transfer. Like, did he come off the bench?
Yeah, it's someone who was batting, like, I think he was 7 in the order or something like that.
It was absolutely gone off the bat.
As soon as he hit it, I knew that was out of here. I said to Matt, I was like, that's out of here. And that's a good response, especially after Coastal took Carolina to extras on Tuesday. I think they'll be happy with the 2-2 week. I certainly wouldn't think D1 baseball would move them out of the top 25, but you never know.
Yeah, for sure. And Reed, where do the Pirates go from here? I know you might be making your way to a Pirate game this week. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'll be in Richmond for work Tuesday and Wednesday. So if I have the chance, I think I'll go check them out. They play at VCU Tuesday night. Never been to VCU's park before. So the opportunity holds. I'll go check them out. But, I mean, obviously – Pirates sit at 7 and 8 right now. Jason?
Yes.
I really thought they needed this series. I said all week they really needed to win this series. Great opportunity with Coastal at home. Obviously, great start Friday night. They looked very flat yesterday. But, I mean, I think we could agree we thought they were in control for most of the game today, and then kind of just let it slip away in those later half of the innings. And this team is young, like we said. I don't know. I don't want to say that they're not going to be an at-large team. I don't think we've gotten to the point there where they have to win the conference tournament. But, I mean, you got to pick up these marquee series wins when you have the chance.
Especially at home.
At home.
For sure.
And tricky midweek coming up, 2 games at VCU. That won't be easy. So, I mean, they needed this badly.
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
I mean, they're going to continue to struggle. I don't think until we get Ryan Towers and Riley Johnson back, I think there's going to continue to be a couple bumps in the road for this Pirate program.
Who do they open up with in American? And by the way, I thought they were going to win that game when it went to extras, like being the home team. I just thought, what a swing by that kid, though. Yeah. But who do they have to open up?
I know they have William and Mary next week, so they play a lot of this coming up. They play 5 next week. VCU and William and Mary.
Memphis at home.
That's a decent mid-major program.
I mean, the AAC is very improved. It appears this year. Obviously, UTSA, they beat A&M on the road. FAU,
Charlotte's up.
UAB.
Charlotte looks a lot better this year.
UAB
is off to a hot start.
UAB looks better.
Tulane's, as expected, performed really well over the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And on this next one, Charleston Southern versus Elon. I just want to take a moment here and give Colby his flowers here for picking Charleston Southern. I know that we're very active with those guys, and those guys are very, very happy with you, Colby, for picking Charleston Southern. I know that I didn't watch much of this series. I don't even know if it was televised, to be honest with you, because I know that they have
Even on
funky stuff,
Flow.
Flow Sports, and
Yeah.
Flow Sports is hard to come by. But what a win by the Charleston Southern program, Colby. And are they on the outside or the inside of our power rankings?
I'd say inside. I've had him in my personal one for the last 2 weeks. I think we should have him in. I think they deserve it after this series. They proved. I think part of the staff was skeptical. They haven't really played anybody, but I think Elon's a solid team, and they went in their place and just swept them.
Yeah, I definitely think if they got a win, it would have been impressive. But sweeping them was just another world for sure. Anyone have any comments on this before we move on?
Not on that, but just the kid's name on Coastal that hit the home run. I don't think we ever said it because no one knew it. Blagan Pato.
Yeah. Okay. Longwood, right? Transfer?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. No, on Charleston Southern though, I agree. I think I was one of the guys that was like, I need to see them play someone. I think they had a tough midweek loss against Georgia Southern, but like they were in that game. And then, yeah, I mean, look, I picked Elon. I thought they were the better team, especially at home. And I don't know if they just laid an egg or if I think Charleston Southern just out hit them. And I think they deserve to be in the rankings. It's just a matter of like, who do we drop? Because like, and I know we could probably get into this in a little bit, but like our ranking a little, maybe like a little rankings preview. But like right now, would you say of the teams that are like we're looking at UNCW that's now at 500 or sorry. Yes, they're right at 500. Yeah. I think at 8-8. Is that a team that could possibly drop out? I know ECU is, they had a 2-2 week. I don't think they probably should drop. I mean, they had a great win against Coastal, a good midweek, well-fought win against Gardner-Webb, and then obviously dropped 2 games. But, they're 7-8, but we have them in at 11th right now. And I think if they win today, there's an argument that they could move up to the top 6, maybe even higher. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I think this Charleston Southern team definitely deserves to be talked about and in the rankings.
Yes, I think they are a phenomenal team. Really looking forward to see how they compete in that conference. And just to kind of take a pause on the power rankings here, I think there will be a major shakeup. I know Carolina lost their first series of the season this week to Stanford. Clemson, I don't think Clemson did not play a very formidable opponent, but they did handle them well. But this Wake Forest team, guys, do they have a shot to move up to 1 or 2, or do you guys think they should stay at 3? Reed, we'll begin with you.
I would certainly say this. I mean, Wake was very impressive this weekend. I mean, Merrick Houston, unbelievable. 10 RBIs. Friday night, beating the living daylights out of Notre Dame. Then following up, they nearly blew the lead in the Saturday game. Held on. Impressive win today. Look, I mean, I said before the season started, I thought Wake was going to be better than last year. I said I thought they would host a regional this year. I'm not ready to move them above Carolina or Clemson yet, but I think they definitely showed this weekend the door is closing. Obviously, losing to Princeton last week kind of put a damper on them in the rankings to all of us last weekend. But, I mean, 4-0 this week. Not sure who they play next week in the ACC play, but, I mean, that offense is clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, they are going absolutely insane. And to go one spot down, South Carolina, I know they went undefeated this week. I know the only 3 losses are to Clemson, but they did – the one good team they did play, they did lose all 3 games. And this weekend versus Morehead State, I mean, if you just look at those scores, I know that I did not watch it. I think that would tell a different story maybe. But just looking at the scores, Braxton, this South Carolina program – Should Coastal jump them for what they did this week, or should South Carolina be still sitting there at 4?
Well, don't we have Coastal above them at 3, right?
Oh yeah. My
I think to go to your point, I think Coastal deserves to still be in front of them. Just off of I think it'd be harsh to punish Coastal after winning a tough series in Greenville, and then obviously playing Carolina down to the to our number one team down to the extra innings. So I think it'd be harsh to move Coastal down further than maybe one spot. Maybe they stay the same. Maybe I don't see them moving up from 3 because I don't see them moving ahead of Carolina, who they lost to, or Clemson. Wake could probably move ahead of them. And one thing on Wake, I don't think I'm with Reed. I don't think they're a 1 or a 2 yet. I think, obviously he mentioned the Princeton loss. That UNCG loss isn't looking much better, with the games they played. I think I agree with Reed, though. They looked very impressive to start out ACC play, but that was at home. I look for them to get tested on the road and drop some games at some point. But they're definitely a top 5 team in our rankings, probably week in and week out. I mean, with what Merrick Houston's doing, that pitching staff's throwing the ball well, especially that bullpen. So I expect to see them right in that top 3 or 4 all year. And then, like Reed said, they're looking like they could be a regional host when it's all said and done. What are they ranked right now in D1? Is it 13, 12, something like that?
15, I think, something like that.
Yeah, but South Carolina, I don't think they will. I don't see them moving up this week. I see them either probably staying where they're at, because I just don't think their series was as impressive enough to move them above teams that like Coastal or Wake Forest.
They kind of, and then to that point, Braxton, I mean, they Friday night, they trailed. I think they were down 5-2 in that game, and then Petrie hit that absolute missile to the moon. Saturday, I watched a little of their game Saturday. They were up big. I think they were up 14-5, and then Morehead State kind of came back on them. Ended up being, I think, 16-12, something along those lines. And then today, they scraped by and won 1-0. But I mean, South Carolina's doing their part, and they're winning. At least they're not losing these games.
Yeah.
I mean, they got swept by Clemson, but they're taking care of business with all the other teams they've played like they need to be as they head into SEC play next weekend.
And there's some other teams I want to talk about, but one I want to talk about is Wofford going off a 1-3 week, coming in at number 7 in the power rankings. They did go to Kentucky, played an SEC opponent, and they did drop their midweek versus who did they drop?
Was it Presbyterian?
That sounds right.
Presbyterian, Clemson. Yes, Presbyterian beat Wofford 4-3 on Tuesday. So they went 1-3. Their lone win versus that explosion in the 9th yesterday.
Yeah, again, I think if they win that midweek game, I think they have an argument to move up. I mean, I think just that Kentucky win alone could keep them right around that 7 or 8 spot. But I mean, it gets cluttered in there. It's going to get crowded. Like, we're trying to get some teams in, like Charleston Southern, and you don't want to move teams out like UNCW or ECU. But at some point, someone's going to be out. High Point definitely doesn't deserve to move out after their week. So, decisions will have to be made here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, not just Charleston Southern. I think Charlotte is becoming more increasingly to have a say in the top 12 too. But probably not. Yeah, probably not on the terms of Charleston Southern's level, just because of the records and Charleston Southern sweeping Elon. But Charlotte has a good case too, in my opinion.
I think this is the first weekend that we are like taking Charleston Southern serious at this point. I don't think any of us expected them. Obviously, with the picks, we did not expect them to sweep Elon.
Yeah, coming in high at 11-3 is very impressive at this point in the season.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys want to touch on the power rankings? What do you guys think? I mean, just kind of like Braxton said, it's about to get very, very, very crowded, and it's going to be very hard.
Someone's going to be unhappy.
Someone's going to be unhappy, and I think we're going to have to figure out yes, I think this program had a better week in this program, but at the same point, from a talent standpoint and just from a holistic standpoint, is this program better than this program? I think those are going to be some talks we're going to have, which will be tough ones. But then again, folks, I would like to reiterate this. Our power rankings are not like debate-based. We each submit a ballot, and it is point-based. So it is not basically all of us saying, hey, South Carolina should be above Wake, Coastal, and Clemson because South Carolina did this. It is all figure it out fairly by a point system.
I mean, we discuss it, but we don't, we
Right.
don't make decisions right here. We make our own decisions, and then we do the math. But we do obviously, like we're discussing right now on the pod, like we go over what happened, what moves could happen, what some possibilities, and I think that's one of the good things about being able to watch the pod. You're getting kind of some bonus content with that in terms of like, okay, what could the power rankings look like tomorrow? Because I know that's what everyone's looking forward to.
Charleston Southern at High Point next weekend.
Oh, you make it out?
Where's it at?
We literally said that this episode that we would have to go to that series.
It's at High Point.
Can we give Adam Stewart a call and maybe get him to work some magic for us? Or do
what days would we like to head out there? Because I know Saturday is
Saturday.
We could do Sunday. Hopefully it's a rubber match.
What's on Saturday?
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, okay.
St. Patrick's Day. Well, St. Patrick's Day celebrations.
Yeah.
That's Colby's favorite.
I definitely think that we should make our way out there. For
I'm
sure,
down
these days. Not far. Adam, if you're watching, Charleston Southern staff, if you're watching, we do appreciate the support from Charleston Southern baseball team. We do appreciate it very much. We'll definitely have to make our way out of that. Reed Tobin, will you be available for that?
I could be up for a trip down
Sunday.
Not too far. It's not too far. It's
Sunday,
at High Point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
What time's the game on Sunday?
1 o'clock.
That'll have to be in the pick'em.
Yes,
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
for sure.
We haven't had High Point yet in the pick'em, so that'll be good.
Another thing people are looking forward to tomorrow are the honorable mentions and player of the weeks.
Yeah.
I want to thank again Colby and Reed for putting this list together and Braxton over the past weeks. It would not be possible without them. They are the backbones of this operation. And we're really looking forward to that. We want to touch on the rest of these series on the Pick'em?
Yeah. Where were we? App State, Charleston?
Yes, sir.
I was surprised. Obviously we all picked Charleston, but I mean, App kind of gave us a scare with the 13-0 win that we talked about.
I mean,
Did you see the box score of that game?
Out hit them 21-3.
And then Charleston made like 5 errors. Too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's what made it so impressive. Charleston bouncing back after that was a terrible showing on Saturday, and then they bounced back.
Charleston, at this point in the season, do y'all think Charleston is a legit regional team?
I wouldn't say as of now, no.
I would say they're going to have to win the conference. If I had to say something, I would say they're going to have to win.
Look, Cole Mathis is gone from that team from last year. Sinks, what was his name?
Yeah, Sink's gone.
Yeah, he's gone too. I mean, they still have enough pieces from last year's team to make noise. And I think we expected them to start off better after, obviously, we all know what happened at the end of last season to them. But like Kaysen says, I think they're going to have to win their conference tournament if they want to get in. I mean, obviously, maybe if they have some absurd record in CAA play, then, I mean, they could be considered at large. But as of now, I agree with Kaysen.
Well, yeah, if you're saying – you can go ahead.
No, Colby, go.
If we're saying no to Charleston right now, are we also saying no to UNCW right now too?
True.
It's a good point.
Yeah, I mean,
I think UNCW probably has
better wins.
More, they probably have more
harder schedule
right now.
Yeah.
I mean, playing 2 games against Georgia at Southern Miss, they played Louisiana the other night ago. I mean, they've challenged themselves.
Yeah.
Charleston losing, I mean, App's just not how they were last year. Lost the series last weekend to Creighton. So, I mean, it's early, but
should I have gone Carolina Stanford instead of that series?
I guess, yeah, probably should have.
I guess
we would have all missed.
Yeah.
Is that Charleston Carolina game from Wednesday going to get made up?
Yeah,
okay.
It's supposed to.
They haven't announced a date, I believe, right, Braxton?
Yeah, I think they have, but I can't. I think it's in like April. But yeah,
well, if we're saying no now, is that a must win?
Maybe. I mean, they beat Coastal 15-5, so it's not
Yeah.
like they don't have a good win in their back pocket. But we can go to that next one though. Are we going to get Money's take on the Southern Miss team?
Money's not in the building currently. He has not come back into the building. But Southern Miss with a solid win at home. Just like I said earlier, that Hattiesburg is very, very hard to play. That is a regional environment. They really get after it out there. And this Wilmington team, I mean, they went in there, played hard, but did not come out of there. And just kind of like Reed said, Wilmington does have a gauntlet. They've built themselves a gauntlet that they are going through. And I'm honestly not sure when it gets easier because I know going into CAA it's going to be tough, and I know the midweeks are tough because they're in North Carolina. So really looking forward to see how this team kind of builds up. Braxton or Reed, just what are you guys looking as this Wilmington team goes on forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had the big win Friday night. I watched most of that game Saturday. Marshburn really pitched well. Connor Marshburn really pitched well. 6 shutout innings on Saturday, gave him the opportunity to win. Offense wasn't able to come through, but I mean they out-hit Southern Miss that game. I think they held Southern Miss to 3 hits total on Saturday.
Yes.
So they kind of let that one slide, and they played them close again today. I really thought Wilmington deserved a little more this weekend down in Hattiesburg.
For sure. Any other comments on the series on Hattiesburg, boys?
I'm good. I do want to see Wilmington bounce back. It was obviously a tough road trip because they did drop the midweek to Louisiana too.
Who do they play? I'll see who they play next week.
Check who they play, Reed. Because
I imagine.
One thing I will say about Wilmington is I think the reason that I think they also have more upside than Charleston is, and on paper you probably would say that Charleston has the better rotation, but I mean UNCW's rotations have been really, really good too. I mean, you look at Zane Taylor, Cam Bagwell?
Yes.
And then Marshburn.
So Wilmington, they host UNC on Tuesday night, and then they host Charlotte for a 3-game series this upcoming weekend.
Oh, that's right. I knew they were playing Charlotte soon. That was the one of the that's on.
And then
Flow.
ECU the following week, and then at Campbell. So I mean,
yeah,
the gauntlet continues for the Seahawks.
Charlotte UNCW series should probably be on.
That should be really good
too.
Yes, we have a lot. I think as we're going further in the pick'ems, I think we're going to have some tough pick'em.
So I need some help picking them this week.
Yeah.
So I don't get bashed in the comments.
South Carolina, Oklahoma as well.
What'd you say, Reed?
South Carolina, Oklahoma as well.
Yeah, Boomer Sooner.
Hey, they lost to Dallas Baptist like bad in the midweek.
Yeah, they got crushed that game.
Dallas
DBU,
Baptist.
One of my Omaha 8 as well.
DBU, good program.
Yeah.
Last one, Braxton. I know you picked your boys. You are loyal to your boys. I will say I did watch their game on Saturday. That was a good win, 5-4 over Troy. They did show that they can hang with one of the top programs in the country, which I think is a positive.
Yeah. No, yeah, we did kind of touch on it, but I look for this team to get hot in Big South play. I think that's kind of been their theme over the past few years, especially with Campbell leaving the conference last year. And again, Troy's my pick to win the Sun Belt. That's a great team for them to come into Spartanburg and them to take one. That's you're happy with that. Obviously, you would have loved to win the series, but I think that's really Reed. Can you check who the Spartans have to open up Big South? Just out of curiosity, because I look for them to start hot. If they have like a favorable schedule in the Big South to start out, I think they will kind of try to boat race this thing, because obviously Charleston Southern playing High Point early on is huge. Winthrop's probably got a tough matchup. I don't know who they play, but we'll have to dig in and look at it. But I look for this Spartans team to start Big South play hot, depending on who they got.
At Stetson next weekend.
Oh, really? Is that that's not a midweek?
No, they don't have a midweek game this week.
They're not even starting Big South yet. Okay. Who do they got after that?
Wofford midweek, and then at Charleston Southern.
Oh, okay. So wow. Charleston Southern's going to have High Point.
They're going to have their chance the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And if we rank them this week, I don't want us to be like overreact if they lose a series to High Point. Like I think, but then again, there's going to be other teams that are knocking on the door that deserve to be in. So if Charleston Southern gets in this week, you got to keep winning to stay in. That's how it is, especially a team like that. But
Yeah, for sure. And as we kind of wrap things up here tonight on this Sunday night, any other comments on the weekend, boys, as we wrap up tonight?
it was kind of good to. I will say it was kind of good to get away a little bit and have a break. But I mean, I'm ready to dive back in and just kind of watch all the highlights from the weekend. I know I was kind of behind on it, but I mean, look, we're approaching mid-March now, and that's when it starts to get conference plays kicking off. Obviously, ACC play started, but hopefully it just continues to be just as exciting as it started out. Obviously, we're going to try to get out to some games as we talked about. Hopefully, we can get to that High Point game. That'd be awesome. But let us know if you want us to come out to see your team play, or let us know. DM us. We'll make it work.
As long as you have hot dogs and warm Busch Light for Tobin, we'll be there.
How many hot dogs did you put down today, Tobin?
0. I'm saving myself for Martinsville.
As Jonah Milchuk in our comment section, College of Charleston been taking care of business. Yes, sir, Jonah. Former college pitcher himself, great player, one of our good friends too as well. Yeah, boys, it was good. It was good to get back at the park this weekend. I know I've spent 2 straight Sundays at baseball games, East Carolina, Virginia Tech, ECU, then Coastal and ECU. It's good to be back. I look forward to this upcoming week. Maybe we make it out to a midweek. Hopefully the weather's nice this midweek. I know last week there was like Hurricane Katrina through here. I know that my house lost power, which was not the most ideal. I was in the middle of a job interview also. It's just kind of a bonus nugget there, which was not ideal. So, boys, this has been fun. I know we didn't do this last Sunday, but as it was good to be back, recap the week, and we have a big midweek ahead, boys.
Let's do it.
Reed,
Look out
are you
for our
focused on
content
the midweek?
tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, get ready for the Carolina Madness, as we've come to know. So, I mean, expect anything this week.
Yeah. Reed, any other comments on PGA Tour, NASCAR, NCAA basketball?
Reed, I do have one question for Reed. I noticed the Super Bowl hat was that worn because it was ECU's Super Bowl this weekend?
Wow.
Wow, good one. No, this is from last year's Super Bowl. Family was out in Vegas during it. I didn't get to go. So this was my prize.
That's your powder purple accessory there?
Yep.
That they brought back.
Reed, any comments on Chris Rebel winning his 3rd straight Cup Series win?
Ridiculous. Someone else, please win. I'm tired of them.
Morikawa with a choke today on the
Yeah.
third.
Who won the Arnold Palmer?
Russell.
Was it
I wouldn't
Arnold
say it
Palmer?
was a choke. I mean, Henley was just sensational down the stretch.
You're up 3 on the back 9. You should win, in my opinion.
Fair
Let's
enough.
get out. Let's try to play some golf next weekend too, boys.
That's what I'm saying. Let's play golf. Go down to High Point. We gotta play golf next week. Go down to High Point. Go
If
down
you have
to
a golf course
Charlotte.
and a game for us to get to and hot dogs, get in our DMs.
Yes, and Cracker Jacks.
And cheddar
Money
cheese,
was all over the Cracker
nachos,
Jacks.
and cheddar.
Reed, cheddar cheese and fudge.
That's directed to Bador's roommate.
All right.
It's
All
time
right,
to
fellas. As we wrap up the night, having some fun here. Don't forget to follow us on X at Carolina Curve BB. Follow us on Instagram, same username. Follow us on Spotify. Give us a like on Spotify. If you are watching still, thank you for watching. If you are listening on Spotify, thank you for listening. Please follow us, rate us 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, whatever you think we are. And don't forget, please join our Discord. There are loads of conversations in there. All of this is in the link in our bio and Instagram and X, Twitter. Please join it. There are loads of content there. And with that being said, folks, we will see you tomorrow. You won't see our faces, but we will have our weekly power rankings dropped at 12 o'clock, followed by our Carolina Curveball Player of the Week, Pitcher of the Week, as well as honorable mentions. With that being said, folks,